Welcome to the Unapologetic with Janine McKinnon podcast, your go-to place for approachable conversations around sacred sexuality and conscious relationships. I'm your host, Janine McKinnon, certified trauma-informed sex, love, and relationship coach who's on a mission to support 1 million women and couples to experience deeper connection and more expansive pleasure inside and outside the bedroom. This is the space to go deep, to dive below surface level relationships and mess sex and explore the sacredness that sexuality and conscious relationships have to offer. Because deep connection, spiritual sexuality, full body orgasms, and transmuted sexual energy are available to everyone. And I'm here to serve the collective, to provide the knowledge, wisdom, and tools to access them. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful we're able to connect in this way, and I can't wait to dig into the contents of this episode with you. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to another Tuesday transmission episode inside the Unapologetic with Janine McKinnon podcast. And today we are talking about why mindfulness is absolutely essential for better sex. And yes, essential. This is a must for anyone wanting better sex in their relationship. So if you are someone who gets caught up in your head when you're being intimate, if you find yourself checking out, if you have low desire or low sexual satisfaction, if you enjoy sex, but you don't find like you want it, that you crave it and you want to desire it again, or if you have a good sex life, but you know there's more available to you, you know there's more out there, but you're not sure how to get it, mindfulness is the answer for absolutely all of these things. Now, I will say, of course, there's nuance. Of course, there's many layers to this. And mindfulness will make a great positive impact for absolutely all of these things. And it's not like it has to be work or this big to-do that you have to do or something that's really expensive that requires a big investment, whether that's time or money. It's actually accessible to all of us. And again, it has a massive impact, not just for your sex life, but just for your overall satisfaction within life. And so what really came through to me that this is the time to bring this up. I have been reading this book, Better Sex Through Mindfulness by Lori A. Brotto. And I absolutely love when the science and the research backs up all of these things that have been anchored so deeply within my practice. Now, my training is deeply rooted in neuroscience, in nervous system regulation, and within ancient practices. So it has this beautiful balance with modern science as well as ancient wisdom. And so for me, it's so satisfying when I see more and more modern science coming through, backing up so much of the foundations of my practice within my programs, within Sensual Embodiment Collective, within coaching. And mindfulness really is such a key piece of all of this. And so what I see time and time again is most women, and honestly, most couples in general, are not truly present during sex, especially not the whole way through. And to be honest, I think that's very much reflected in our daily lives in modern society. We are taught to be distracted and to numb out and have trained ourselves to have a very short attention span, to be honest. It's all about those quick videos, the doom scrolling, numbing out through scrolling, numbing out through alcohol, through weed, through watching TV, all of these different vices. And so all of these things are disconnecting ourselves, as well as just the busy lifestyle, moving from one thing to the next, being so go, go, go. We are trained not to be truly present because of all of these things. And because of that, we are missing out on so much. Yes, we're missing out on great, amazing sex. And we are also missing out on just the beauty and the liveliness of life itself. Because again, I know I talk about it all the time, but our liveliness is based in our sensuality, our ability to tap into our bodies through all five senses, through what we see, what we feel, what we hear, what we smell, and what we taste. And when we're so go, do you desire to feel confident in your body and empowered in your sexuality? The Honeypot Meditation is a potent 12-minute visualization to support you in connecting with your sexuality and rewiring your subconscious with the confident, radiant energy you'd love to embody. Download completely free through the link in the show notes and get ready to immerse yourself in a visceral experience as you connect with your sensual, radiant essence. When we are so numbed out or distracted, we are robbing ourselves from being connected through the senses, and therefore robbing ourselves of being connected to the incredibleness that is life itself, as well as great sex. And just this morning, as I was preparing for this podcast episode, I came across this great quote that I think really weaves in quite well to this conversation. And it is a quote by Wayne Dyer. And he says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I think that is just so true. It resonated so deeply because we can be living like the exact same lives, the exact same day-to-day, week-to-week routine. But if we change our perspective, if we change the way we look at things, or even more so, if we change the way we feel throughout our days by really being rooted in our body, rooted in our senses, being present within the moment, even though we're doing the same everyday things, our experience of those things drastically changes. It becomes more fulfilling, more pleasurable. And the same thing goes for sex. That's why mindfulness is such a key within the Sensual Embodiment Collective, such a key within my coaching sessions. Because through embodiment practices, through mindfulness, we're able to train ourselves to have this deep presence that, again, fulfills us and pleasures us. So how does all of this work? So in the book, the data and the research that fully books this up shows that women, well, one piece that I found super interesting is that women with anxiety, depression, or mood disorders have a higher likelihood of experiencing low sexual satisfaction and low sexual desire. So one, that's super interesting, and that shows me women who tend to be caught up in their heads about things will then experience low sexual satisfaction and low sexual desire. Now, on the flip side, these studies also show that women with a very simple mindfulness practice will show large increases in that sexual satisfaction with the sexual desire. And so that's incredible. It shows that we can have this super simple practice that makes a very big impact. And so what she does within this book, and then I will tell you another flavor that I do within Sensual Embodiment Collective. But what they have done within the book, within these studies, is give groups of women a raisin. And so they call it an object. And they walk them through a 5 senses practice, much like I do with my clients in various ways. And so by looking at this object as if you were looking at it for the first time ever, take in what it looks like. What color is it? What texture is it? How does it reflect light? Now, how does it feel on your fingers? Are there ridges? How soft or how firm is it? Without putting it in your mouth, run it across your lips. What does it feel like? Take a moment to really smell the aromas of this raisin. Sipping them in, drinking them in, being fully immersed in the scent of this raisin. Then, slowly bringing it into your mouth, not chewing it right away, yet swirling it around, feeling what it feels like as you move it through your mouth, before finally bringing it to the back of your teeth, chewing it, being tapped into that burst of flavor through that first bite, continuing to chew it before finally swallowing it and feeling it move through your esophagus. So wow, quite a difference in moving through eating a raisin like that compared to just snacking on raisins. And the same can go for any type of food. It's just what they have done with these particular studies. And I think it is a great way of showing how being tapped in through our senses, through changing the way we look at something, a raisin, that we have seen many, many times in our life, can completely change our experience with it. It can completely change the raisin. And so we can do this through sexuality as well. And so there's one practice, and I've talked about it on here many times. It's inside the Sensual Embodiment Collective, and it is the Awaken Your Senses pleasure practice. And so with this, you're invited to bring something to smell, something to taste, something to feel, putting on a great playlist or listening to the music included in the audio, as well as a mirror. So it takes this practice and brings it even further, even deeper. Beginning, I can't remember now because it has been a little bit since I've personally done this practice, but for example, taking an essential oil, smelling it as if it is the first time you have ever smelled this scent. Feeling the way it comes in through your nose, perhaps tickling your senses. Feeling it wash over you as you lose yourself in the smell of this essential oil. Then taking something to eat, perhaps some fresh fruit or dark chocolate. Taking your time with it, feeling it, smelling it, before tasting it. Feeling the way the flavors swirl around your mouth. Noticing how your saliva responds to this delicious taste as you are able to savor every moment with it. Beginning to amplify your pleasure even more. Feeling different textures on your skin, perhaps silk or fur or a soft fuzzy blanket. Feeling your touch as if it is for the first time ever. What sensations are present? Where are they located? What do they feel like? Are they tingling? Are they heat? Do they swirl or pulse? Staying so present with each and every sensation before you lose yourself into the music, feeling the sounds move through you like waves as you intuitively move your body, being lost in the sounds of this music. And then looking in the mirror, seeing yourself so sensually alive, lit up, reinforcing that you are a pleasurable being, that pleasure is your birthright, that you can find safety and enjoyment by tapping into all of your senses and seeking pleasure in this way. And it is such a beautiful practice, and it takes this mindfulness one step further. So the mindfulness with the raisin is a fantastic, absolutely fantastic practice. And I encourage everyone to just go and do it with anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be a raisin. And it's just a great way of training your mind and your body to be present through the senses. And then when you bridge into this pleasure practice, it is taking things to a whole other level, which is why I am such a proponent for embodiment practices, for pleasure practices, because it just hits and rewires your nervous system at this way deeper way by fully bringing online both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system states. Because through sexuality, through pleasure, you actually have both of them firing in this beautifully unique way. You have the activation with anticipation, and with those like sexual energies flowing through you, it is an activated state. And it's also a surrendered state. It is also a relaxed state. You need to feel safe. You need to be feeling relaxed in order to surrender into the pleasure. So when you are building up your pleasure, you are opening yourself right up and then tapping into all five senses. You're creating this new baseline within your body, within your nervous system, to do this on a regular basis, to feel safe, tapping in and finding pleasure through all of the senses. You're rewiring your neural pathways to a much greater degree to seek out the pleasure, to seek out what's alive through the senses. And so it is able to show up and be much more of an automatic response in, yes, your intimate times as well as your day-to-day life when you train yourself through embodiment and pleasure practices. Mindfulness is absolutely going to do it. It will take more repetition and the shifts will be more subtle over time compared to embodiment practices and pleasure practices, where it just rewires again at that deeper level. So you notice those bigger shifts, those more automatic responses in training your presence through the senses. And so with both of these to varying degrees, you will notice when you are intimate with your partner, it's much easier for you to be present instead of getting caught up in your head, or when you find yourself pulling up into your head thinking about the to-do list or that frustrating moment or whatever it may be, you're better able to bring yourself back in. What do I feel? What sensations are present? Where are they located? How does the energy feel moving through my body? So as you can see, again, anchoring it back with this quote, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So the same intimate experience you're having with your partner can look drastically different and feel drastically different just through being more present with it, being more present in all of those sensations. Then over time, what I do with my work and over time of being a part of the Sensual Embodiment Collective, doing various practices like this on a weekly basis, and this just takes 10 to 30 minutes once a week if that's what you want to do. It doesn't have to be work, it doesn't have to be a to-do list, it's just a rhythm in your day. Or perhaps you really enjoy having that 10-minute anchoring point every day, like I do for the most part. It's totally up to you and what works, but through getting your reps in, you're able to really completely shift your presence, create this massive trust and safety within your body to feel pleasure, to feel all the sensations, all the emotions that come up, because again, modern society, our day-to-day lives have taught us to be so disconnected from this, to be so controlled over what we allow ourselves to feel and experience, that it takes time to be able to let go of control, to surrender into the sensations. And so this is something you get to build on over and over and over again, expanding your pleasure capacity, increasing your sexual satisfaction, increasing your sexual desire. And the world is your oyster. There is so much you can do with this. And then I like to add on those holistic sex tools, like I have talked about in other podcast episodes. They're not even that far away. So after you're done listening to this episode, feel free to just scroll a little bit back where I tap into those holistic sex tools. I find they really go hand in hand. We need our nervous system regulation. We need our mindfulness, tapping in through the senses. And then we can amplify our pleasure even more through holistic sex tools. And then there's even more things we can do, because there really is so much available to you. And it is available to absolutely everyone. Pleasure is our birthright. As women, we have the clitoris with over 10,000 nerve endings, and it is the only human organ that's sole purpose is pleasure. Anything else that can be pleasurable has multi-purpose functions. The clitoris's sole function is pleasure, which makes pleasure quite literally your birthright. And it is available to everyone. It just takes time to learn, to practice how to access it, how to be present in it, and then how to amplify it even more. So I will leave you at that. I will also add Sensual Embodiment Collective. We are launching very, very soon. You need to get on the wait list if you are interested. It is only for those on the wait list that will receive the early bird pricing, as well as the juicy bonuses that include some one-on-one time with me, so I can really set you up for success for your experience within the collective. It is very go at your own pace while still having that structure and support, rather than being more work, being a course for something you need to learn. This is really about a rhythm, about an experience, about coming home to yourself and your body and your senses. And again, like I touched on, just building those reps over time to expand your capacity more and more so you can experience better sex. You can feel more embodied as a sensual woman. You can experience more everyday joy and pleasure just in the simple everyday moments of life. So I will leave the link in the show notes. That is available for you. Highly encourage you to get on the wait list. And again, you can scroll back through other podcast episodes to hear more about those holistic sex tools, which really help bring your sex from great to wow, and also help you in the beginning stages as well. So make sure you check those out. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you give this podcast a subscribe or a follow so you can receive new podcast episodes every single Tuesday. And please leave a rating or review if you found this podcast episode helpful or inspirational. Every rating or review really makes quite a big impact for how this podcast is able to reach more women just like you who can use these tools and these inspirations to live more fulfilling lives, more satisfying lives, both inside and outside the bedroom. So I will leave you with that, sending you off with so much love. Thank you for joining us inside the Unapologetic with Janine McKinnon podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you feel called, I would so appreciate it if you left us a review to help us reach more women and couples so they can experience deeper connection and more expansive pleasure inside and outside the bedroom too. Until next time, embrace your desire and experience your magic.